Welcome to the Rogers Kakasungura YouTube channel. Today, the Law Society of Kenya is speaking to the people of the Republic of Kenya. It has released a statement castigating the conduct of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, during the yesterday's by-election that were held across the Republic of Kenya. In the statement, LSK has warned that the country is slowly sliding into political chaos. The by-elections that were conducted in 22 regions across the country were filled with widespread chaos, and some videos of bloodshed in several areas were witnessed. LSK noted that it had been closely following the polls, and it has expressed concern over the level of disorder witnessed, noting that elections should never escalate to such a level of disarray and chaos. By the way, I personally questioned how the IEBC was conducting itself, especially from the regions we saw yesterday, where the IEBC itself was involved in a number of laws, which I think to us it is painting a very bad picture towards the 2027 general election, and that itself should be condemned. That is what the LSK has done, and allow me to read their statement. The Law Society of Kenya has been keenly following the events in the run-up to and during the by-election in Baringo County, Magarini, Banisa, Mbeere North, Malava, Ugunja, and Kasipul constituencies, and Chewani, Fafi, Mumbuni North, Lake Zoni, Nanam, Angata Nanyukie, Chemudu, Kapngetuni, Narok Town, Purko, Kisa East, Kabuchai, Nyamaiya, Ekerenyo, Nyansiongo, and Kariobangi northwards. From the outset, we note that the by-elections in each of these electoral units were overdue, necessary, and in the best interest of the democratic rights of voters. From these unrepresented constituencies, however, this otherwise routine constitutional exercise has had all marking of a high-stakes, do-or-die political contest between the country's leading political formations. Throughout the campaign period, we received reports of pockets of violence ensuing in the various electoral units and heightened political tension, which often erupted into clashes between rival political candidates and groups. These sporadic cases of violence not only possess a threat to the safety and security of voters and candidates, but equally gravely undermines the sanctity and integrity of the entire electoral process. This goes against the fundamental principles of the electoral system as stipulated under Article 81(e)(2) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, that elections must be free from violence, intimidation, improper influence, or corruption. On account of the general mood of the campaign period, and considering its duty to uphold the principles of the electoral system, a legitimate expectation arose upon the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, and the national security organs to the lake to take precautionary measure to avert any eventualities on the material day of the elections. However, the reports of unbridled violence and unrest during the conduct of the by-elections indicate a worrying level of all preparedness on the part of the key electoral stakeholders and lack of political tolerance among the electorate. We strongly condemn the heinous acts of violence that characterized the by-elections held on 27 November 2025. Particularly, we condemn the level of violence eruptions reported in Malava constituency, Kaspul constituency, Ekerenyo ward, and Kabujai Chwele ward. Elections should never escalate to such a level of disarray and chaos. Hii ndio mnasikia William Ruto na brag eti walishinda. Kwa na brag huko Narok. While Kenya remains a politically passionate nation, we must be careful not to undo the relative democratic and electoral maturity that has developed over the post-2010 constitution electoral cycles. The Law Society of Kenya forewarns that if we ignore the events of the by-elections and fail to take drastic preparatory measures to prevent such reemergence of electoral violence, Kenya risks plunging back into political chaos with the 2027 general election in the horizon and against the backdrop of numerous unfulfilled constitutional milestones relating to elections, including boundaries, delimitation, and overhaul of the current voter register. There is little room for laissez-faire in strategic preparations towards elections by the IEBC. Kenya cannot afford the lapses that enabled the bloodshed and turmoil witnessed during the Thursday polls. In the circumstances, the Law Society of Kenya calls for immediate deterrent measures against all perpetrators of election-related violence. We call upon the IEBC and all security agencies to urgently commence investigations into the Thursday polls with a view of identifying all persons involved in the violations of Section 11 of the Election Offence Act against use of violence. Similarly, we call upon the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions to swiftly initiate the prosecution of all persons found culpable and conclude such proceedings in the shortest possible time frame on account of the public interest implications of this matter. Further, we call upon the IEBC and all other election stakeholders, including civil society, security organs, the judiciary, and political parties, to urgently engage in all-inclusive election preparedness deliberations to assess the capacity of our institution to effectively deal with the ongoing general elections and put in place necessary reinforcements as this process is undertaken. We call upon the members of the public to remain peaceful and exercise restraint in the expression of political views. The people of Kenya retain a collective responsibility to guard the peace of the nation and protect it from the being undermined for political expediency. We urge every Kenyan to undertake this duty with full commitment. I agree that IEBC fell short of expectation, and that is what actually regarded the few days, especially on Magarini and Mbere North elections. God bless you. See you in the next episode. Asanteni sana.